What's going on? So I got a really good chance now just to kind of talk about O.J. Simpson and I'll tell it like this. No O.J. Simpson, no Michael Jordan, Sugar Ray Leonard, Shaquille O'Neal, Tiger Woods, Serena Williams. I'm talking about from black commercialization. He was the first black crossover really guy to transcend the sport and make it where you had to acknowledge the greatness. Willie Mays was before him, but Eddie Robinson, the Grambling State University coach, talked about the impact of OJ on pop culture. And as big as Dr. J was in the 70s, and Muhammad Ali was in the 70s, and Arthur Ashe and Richie Jackson, OJ Simpson towered over him. He towered over him. He was a big crossover figure. He was featured on magazines. And you can make the case he was a precursor to Michael Jackson, too. I mean, he had really crossed over TV, film, and he really become a product pitchman with the Hertz and everything like that. And, when you think about the impact of him globally, and just in the States, he was known by an initials. He was either known as OJ or the Juice. That's how credibility he had with the crossover. That was the first, and it was amazing with that. People who didn't even care about football or sports knew who he was, from USC to the Buffalo Bills. And as far as we get to what happened 30 years ago, I still say not guilty. I don't care what nobody says. I never felt he did it. You could say maybe an accessory. You can say what you want. I never felt he did it. I have no problem with saying not guilty with OJ. I have no problem with, I separate the two, but I never felt that it was there. And I don't like it when I hear people try to act like they know for certain, because they're so quick to put judge and jury on him without knowing everything. But he was one of the most important athletes, entertainers ever, period. And incredibly charismatic. There were things he did I didn't care for. I didn't like the bop in the head when he was doing commentary on Monday Night Football with Hackasell. And I didn't like the fake white voice and the haw and all that mess. I never cared for him shuffling at times. I thought he was bucking and tap dancing. And I had a problem with certain things where he was. Of course, there's going to be the whole people say, I'm not black, I'm OJ. And people will use that as a criteria. However, it's funny when he got out of prison for that false hoax case in Vegas, because that judge was painfully racist and that was biased. That was payback. Everybody knows that. You can't possibly get locked up for your own stuff. Boycott Las Vegas. I'll never go to Las Vegas. That racist piece of trash judge was embarrassing. But the point is, he got really black on them X streets, formerly Twitter. His videos were very informative, and he was speaking his piece. And he had a strong sense of memory. He remembered a lot. People forget he grew up in the projects in Frisco. So he wasn't just some cat that didn't have hood in him. It's just that he played the role, which a lot of black folks do, to make it in corporate America. He did. So anyway, I wanted to do a part 2 of the video because I really didn't get a chance to really get into all these topics, but he was one of the greatest players ever. Top 1 to 2 to 3 greatest running back ever, and the top 10 running back. And if NFL Films ever runs back the top 100 players ever, he better not be anything lower than top 5 or 6, because his impact is felt. He was before Deion Sanders. He was before Lawrence Taylor. He was before LT. He was before those guys. He was before Brady. Let's remember something. He was picked as the greatest football player of the 70s. Considering the Dolphins and defeated teams, the Steel Curtain, the Cowboys. Think about it, the Raiders. He was picked as the best player. He was the only guy that the Pittsburgh Steelers said that they feared. Should tell you his impact for a non-quarterback. Think about it. Running back that held that kind of honor, that kind of sway. He was one of a kind. And that's after being a great collegiate player at USC. So he definitely left a lasting impact. And the likes of him have not really been met again in the NFL. Yeah, you've had other guys. I think the closest one that I thought at a running back that mirrored him to me to an extent was Barry Sanders. But make no mistake, and all due respect to a lot of great backs, but he was one of a kind. He opened up a lot of gates for a lot. So nothing to be forgotten, and he will remember. Some people gonna have different opinions, and that's fair. But I'm just giving my take and my honesty assessment of how I looked at O.J. Simpson, because I thought that I never bought the verdict. Still don't. Timeline never add up. Anybody want to debate, feel free. But I also just thought that I didn't, like I said, I had my personal opinions. I wasn't like no hero worship or nothing like that. He was charismatic, good looking dude, talented dude, but he had his flaws and his shortcomings because he was trying to play a role to appease white America with 3Ks. He did. He role played a lot because that's how he got sold into the system. And that's a reality. So if I hear Keyshawn Johnson talking about on Undisputed, he didn't understand about being a black man. No, he understood. He just took a defer because that's how his path was. Don't speak on something that you don't know about because they take you and they mold you. And that's what ended up happening with him. So anyway, we can talk about OJ however you want to talk about it. Feel free. Please stay safe, be careful, and we'll be back again with more commentary. I'll probably, I'll have more thoughts on this more as time goes on because he left a lasting impact and he was polarizing, but he would have been polarizing even if it hadn't been 94. We'll see. All right. But he was legendary and one of the greatest athletes ever, period. Paved the way for a lot of black athletes, and white ones benefited from him as well. I'm out.